Good evening, my name is Deanna and I'm a music artist here in Toronto, Canada. Today I wanted to talk about one songwriting tip that I've found to be very effective that I haven't really seen being used elsewhere. Songwriting, like other forms of art, is often seen as the sort of elusive thing. It's almost as if it's seen as magic. So the song just appears in my hands out of nowhere and I present it to you. But I wanted to talk a bit about one of my tricks that I use for songwriting. So I got a request to teach you some songwriting tips, and I wanted to give you one trick that I use and I found to be very effective, and it's most likely not what you think. I'm going to be using my song that I wrote, White Clouds, as an example for how I use this songwriting tip. So to start, I'm just gonna play you the intro of that song. This song is called White Clouds, and I wrote it earlier on this year. So that was the introduction to my song, White Clouds. Do you notice how the chords made you feel? The one thing that I noticed about these chords is that they create a feeling of relief, almost like release, and a little bit of joy that I sense there. Like a ecstatic joy, but a very serene and soft joy. Almost like you're floating through the clouds. And then when I go up to here, do you notice how this chord kind of creates a bit of movement? It's like we're flying a little bit higher into those clouds. Now we're flying down. And now we're back to this sort of root note that is G, and it's very soothing and relieving. One of my favorite songwriting tricks is using feelings to write a song. So this seems maybe obvious, but I want to delve a little bit deeper into how you can use your feelings to write a song. So to start, I think it's very important to slow down and tap into the feeling that you want to portray with this song, or the feeling that perhaps the lyrics are meant to portray. If you don't have lyrics yet, that's okay too. You can just sort of go with the feeling that you have in the moment. So sometimes when I write a song, I don't really know where it's going to go. I just sit down and I start playing with some chords, and I see if those chords match how I'm feeling. In order to use feelings for songwriting, you have to get a little bit more acquainted with how to notice and name your feelings. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about your feelings per se, because the song might not be about you. It might be about a character, it might be about a story, but the feelings are still very important for portraying a certain message. So the feeling might be what the song wants to feel. But it's very important to tap into this feeling, because music, like other art forms, it uses emotion a lot to portray messages, to evoke emotions in the listeners or the viewers, if it's a visual art form. And if you're not tapping into the emotion, you might not be able to express the true meaning of the song or get your listeners fully engaged. And I think feeling is very important to start with for that reason. So one thing you can do is you can notice if the feeling is mild, is it more moderate, or is it very powerful. So when I think of a powerful song or one with a powerful emotion, for some reason I think of the song by Adele called Hello. So when I start singing, a white snowflake falls from a blue sky, and I feel like the weight of the world is lifted from my shoulders. So you notice how when I sing that, I'm not singing, I'm not belting, I'm not screaming, I'm singing it quite softly, and it's building up a little bit as we reach this sort of almost like a mini climax in the song, but then it's going back down and I'm singing softly again. And the emotion, like I mentioned earlier with the song, is kind of like relief and serenity, peace. Another tip that you can use to tap into your feelings is to learn new words for feelings and also understand the complexity of emotions. So you can learn new words for feelings by using feelings charts online. For example, there's a really amazing feelings wheel which portrays all the different types of emotions you can experience. So within each of those primary emotions that we feel, there's also secondary and tertiary emotions. And learning about these is really useful, not just for songwriting, of course, but for this purpose, you can use it to name the exact emotion. So this song, maybe it's kind of happy, a little bit, but if we go a little bit deeper, it's a little bit bittersweet, it's a little bit slightly sad, but overall, we get this sort of serene feeling from it, and that's because the song is sort of about changing and noticing good things happening in my life, and yeah, this just sort of this release. You can sort of see that in the chorus when I sing. I once felt so small, I didn't know yet how to stand tall. I repeat that a little bit. Notice how I always return to the root chord, root note there. So using the complexity of emotion is important in songwriting because I find that the best songs, maybe not the best songs, but the songs that I particularly enjoy often aren't just one emotion. There's a bit of a nuance, there's a bit of complexity to the feelings that the song sort of portrays. Another thing you can do to improve your ability to tap into feelings is to notice feelings in art, in music, in movies. You can think about what the artist has done to evoke this emotion. You can sort of incorporate aspects of that into your songwriting. So one way that I incorporate understanding feelings into songwriting is how I choose my chord progressions. Chords can represent different feelings, they evoke different emotions. So something I've noticed over the years in playing guitar is how different chords and different chord progressions evoke different emotions, and while it's somewhat subjective, I think that there's a consensus that certain notes evoke different feelings. For example, minor notes have a bit of a sadder, deeper sound, and then major notes sound a bit more bright, a bit more joyful. So like in my song White Clouds, this is C, but it has the root note G, and I like to add that to give it a bit of a darker sound. So without it, it sounds a little brighter. When I add the root note G, it's a little bit darker. So this chord is peaceful, soothing. I find it's almost neutral because it's not quite happy, it's not quite sad, but it's warm, and it almost feels sort of like a resolution. And A minor, this is often used in sort of sad songs, or maybe even angrier kind of songs. It's a little bit sad, but it's kind of brighter too, and it's good as kind of like an accent chord within a song. Then we have F, which is a bit darker. It's a bit more contemplative. We've got E minor, which is dusty, deep, and I really like the G major bar chord, because the regular G chord, it's nice. It's a bit more happy, but I think that the bar chord version, it's got a little something to it. It sounds a little bit more warm and maybe a bit more alternative. So the next time you go to write a song, you can try incorporating this method of tapping into feelings and naming feelings, and see how it helps you progress within songwriting. Remember that a good song will not force the emotion onto you. It will just sort of show itself naturally, and it will be evoked in you without you having to try. And so by understanding our emotions a little bit better, we can use music to express it. So I hope that this tip helps you improve your songwriting. I think that some of the best songs out there, some of the classics, the reason that they're favorites is that they do evoke strong emotions. So one piece of advice that I'll give to you is every day notice and name your emotions. You can do this by doing a daily journal of emotions, recording how you're feeling, and maybe recording the strength or how powerful or how mild your emotions are. If you do this, you'll notice that your songwriting will improve. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed my video, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and hitting the little ding, and that would make me very happy, Mr. Happy.